I want to first note that there will be spoilers for Avatar and Avatar 2: The Way of Water in this video. This video will in no way have rigorous defensive ideas. I will talk a bit about Avatar and a bit about some of my own ideas on what may be considered a controversial topic. If you disagree with my points or want me to elaborate more on my points, then please let me know in the comments. I, like many people, saw Avatar 2 recently, and I rewatched the first movie in preparation. I enjoyed the movies, and they have a lot to say, but I'm not a giant Avatar fan, and I'm ill-equipped to discuss the movies as a whole. So today I want to talk about one aspect of these movies which I find interesting. I'm going to talk about intelligence. In Avatar, there are multiple intelligent species. Humans, Na'vi, the Tikkun, potentially others, and even Eywa itself. And it isn't uncommon to have multiple intelligent species within a story, but there is a difference between how these intelligent species act, which is a bit unusual. I think that we often associate technology with intelligence, and I don't think that's a good association. Obviously, you need a base level of intelligence to create technology, but generally speaking, the level of technology a species or society has is not an indicator of intelligence. Humans are no more intelligent than we were a couple centuries ago. Biologically speaking, we are quite similar, but our technology is infinitely better. When we see other intelligent species in fiction, it is often depicted by technology often superior to human technology, but that doesn't actually imply a huge intelligence, perhaps just more time spent developing technology. Intelligence is often depicted by advanced technology and colonization, very human things. Avatar is interesting because none of the intelligent species have expansionist urges, and yet some are confirmed to be more intelligent than humans. The Tikkun have more neural connections, and so does Eywa. I'm not sure about the Na'vi, but I assume they're comparable to humans. Humans are the species that have made it to a new planet. Humans are the species that have far superior technology. Humans are the species that seem well equipped to take over Pandora. And yet humans are also the species that have destroyed their home planet, and they are clearly not the highest form of intelligence on Pandora. And with this being the case, Avatar proposes the idea that higher forms of intelligence are not expansionist. The Na'vi have not passed the stage of technology such as bows and arrows, housing, and clothing. But the Na'vi seem to have no intention to. The Tikkun cannot create technology because of their biology, but they can communicate with the Na'vi, and they could have instructed the Na'vi to. Eywa doesn't seem to have any intention to expand beyond itself, though it's not really clear how Eywa works. The intelligent species native to Pandora emphasize the importance of interconnectedness, not their own advancement. Now, of course, these are only movies, and the true nature of higher intelligence is up for debate, but I think that the ideas that Avatar gives on intelligence are pretty cool, and not exactly unfounded. A couple years ago, I thought pretty hard about the advancement of an intelligent species, under the assumptions that a species needs to consume an amount of essential resources per individual to survive, which increases with technological advancement, that biological evolution takes place on timescales much longer than what I called intellectual evolution, which is described better as the progression of knowledge, that a species would not perform genetic engineering on themselves, as the result would be a species that is more advanced than the original and would lead to the extinction of the original species, and that to run out of an essential resource would mean mass death, or extinction. I approached the problem from a mathematical perspective, and found that a species could progress technology without bound given a fast enough rate of expansion or colonization. However, in practice, this would require the development of faster-than-light travel or communication, as timescales associated with interplanetary travel would eventually exceed the lifespan of the species, and distribution of new resources would be meaningless. In short, my thought experiments led to the conclusion that for a species composed of individuals with their own will, being able to advance technology without bound, without going extinct, lies somewhere between the lines of very difficult and impossible. The validity of my work is up for debate, but I think we should at least not blindly believe in the ability of technological advancement to solve our problems. I did my undergrad in mathematical physics, and I'm studying applied math right now. And I can't help but feel like the human mindset is very strange. When we talk about ourselves, it seems like we think there is some sort of disconnect between us and the universe, like we can somehow impose our will and alter the naturally occurring world. And I think from a mathematical standpoint, that doesn't make very much sense. If the universe does not evolve based on math, then math at least provides an excellent description of the universe. And ultimately, we are part of the universe, and we must evolve based on the same equations the rest of the universe evolves from. The idea that we have control over how we organize ourselves, that we can alter how the universe works, maybe even the idea of free will, seems inconsistent with the idea that the universe evolves based on math. And that admittedly sounds strange. It certainly feels like I have free will. But if the universe at a fundamental level is described by math, then maybe I don't. I think that Avatar does a really good job of reminding us that we are part of the universe. Great portions of these movies are spent developing the beauty of the interconnectedness of Pandora, with that connection made explicitly visible as the species of Pandora can connect mentally to each other, and to Ewa. The intelligent species of Pandora value their place among Pandora, as well as the roles that each other species plays in Pandora. They don't look to alter the system in place to their benefit, to develop technology and take over what they can. And perhaps understanding your connection to the universe and finding happiness in what you have is intelligence. Maybe understanding that starting on a path of technological advancement can lead to an overuse of resources and downfall of your species is what allows an intelligent species to live a long time. The species of Pandora may be primitive in a technological sense, but they seem content with their lives, and unlike the humans, they have a planet that can sustain their way of life. I personally like this interpretation of intelligence, and the story of Avatar when viewed this way proposes a really interesting scenario. Due to survival of the fittest, a species which gains the intelligence and ability to develop technology will use it for their own benefit. They should naturally have an expansionist mindset. If a species is around long enough to philosophize against their biology, their expansionist mindset, then they may be vulnerable if they come in contact with an expansionist species. This is the conflict in Avatar. The non-expansionist species of Pandora are threatened by the less intelligent expansionist humans. This is visible on the smaller scale as well via the exiling of Payakan. Payakan tried to fight back against the humans and got other Tokuns killed in the process. They are so intelligent that in their society that is equivalent to murder, as Payakan put them in a situation where they could be harmed. The philosophy of the Tokuns makes them extremely vulnerable to humans, as fighting back such as Payakan did is against their values. Similarly, Ewa in the first film took a long time to contribute in the fight against the humans. You know, I think Avatar really doesn't say much on this topic of intelligence compared to what can be said. The ideas of Avatar can almost be summarized by saying, increasingly intelligent species are not expansionist. But I think that this is an interesting topic to think about and discuss, and the little that Avatar does say is pretty unconventional and thought-provoking. Though it may not be the main emphasized point of Avatar, I think it is cool that it was incorporated into these movies. In the concrete jungles that we have constructed for ourselves, it is not always apparent what connection we have to the earth. And I have been more fortunate than most to spend time contemplating the marvels of our own world. But not everyone is given this opportunity, and I think that Avatar provides a good opportunity to reflect on how we view technological advancement and intelligence, and where we think our future is headed.